Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wednesday, December 18th, 2024 meeting of the Lake Havasu City Planning and Zoning Commission. If you'd please rise and join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Susanna Ballard.
Present.
Commissioner Joan DeZuro.
Present.
Commissioner Paul Lair.
Here.
Vice Chair Tiffany Wilson. Commissioner Lonnie Stevenson. Chair Jim Harris.
Here.
Commissioner Gabrielle Medley. Commissioner Mary Costa. Commissioner J.P. Thornton.
Here.
Commissioner Phil Annette.
Here. Okay, we have two regular commissioner vacancies, so I already filled those spots with Ms. Costa and Mr. Annette. Welcome. Correspondence and announcements. Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Only one significant occurrence since your last meeting, and that was the City Council approving the recommended changes from this body to the Development Code for Senate Bill 1162. That was regarding review times and housing studies, and the last part was how protest petitions are calculated, leaving government-owned property out. That all passed unanimously, City Council, and will be 30 days following the approval will be we'll put into our books.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you. Minutes of the last meeting. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections by commissioners? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of November 20th, 2024.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Ballard, a second by Mr. Thornton, to approve the minutes of the last meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and vote on the motion.
The motion passes 7-0.
Okay, let me just start by saying that this is a public hearing and that there is a structured order to this proceeding. The city staff will present each item. There will be time for the commission to ask questions of the staff, and then the applicant will have the opportunity to present their case to the commission. That being done, we will then open the proceeding to the public for their questions and input. I would ask that anyone of the public that wishes to speak limit their trips to the podium and microphone to one only, keep all comments to less than 3 minutes, and to stay on point and not discuss subject matter that is not pertinent to the decision being considered here today. After public testimony is taken, I will then close the public hearing and bring the motion back to the table for the city staff's exceptions and conditions of approval, discussion amongst the commission, and eventually a motion to approve or disapprove, and I thank you in advance for your cooperation. The first item on today's agenda is item number ID 24-4583. This is a request for a rezone of tract 2302, block 1, parcels A and C at 360 Cypress Drive, 340 Mulberry Avenue, and 1873 Walnut Drive, approximately 21.4 acres from single-family residential district R1 to public lands and facilities districts P1. Mr. Gilbert, your presentation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to point out that should the commission have any questions for detailed questions regarding the actual project, even though this is a rezone application, we have representatives of the Public Works Department here. First thing I'm going to put up is the area map. The subject property is a 21-acre parcel owned by the city and used for wastewater treatment purposes, among other city uses. The property is bounded by Cypress Drive, and that's on the north, up here, Oak Drive on the east, Mulberry's on the west, Walnut Drive kind of here on the south, and we got Spruce Drive here on the east. Zoning map. The subject property is currently zoned single-family residential R1 district and is surrounded by residential uses, primarily single-family with some R2 and R3 on the west end. Lake Havasu City is considered a full-service city and provides a wide range of services, including police, fire, water, sewer, parks, and much more. All these services require public buildings and lands upon which these facilities can be placed and expanded as needed to continue serving what is a growing community. The Mulberry Wastewater Treatment Plant is one of these facilities, and the need for a new water quality laboratory on this property has been recognized and budgeted by the City Council. A zoning map amendment rezone of the property from single-family residential R1 district to public lands and facilities P1 district is necessary to help facilitate the needs of the city. This change will allow for the construction of a new water quality laboratory adjacent to the Mulberry Wastewater Treatment Plant and allow for future expansion as needs arise. And there could be all manner of improvements that may be necessary in the future on this property. But in this particular instance, driving this rezone request is the wastewater treatment facility. I have included a site plan for this, even though this is a rezoning, we're not focusing on the site plan or the building. The site plan shows the new building on the north end of the proposed rezone area and will permit the testing lab to move out of the main Mulberry treatment facility building to the south that is in dire need of upgrading and into the new structure. The new site will include a parking lot and site landscaping. Regarding the building facade, the slide shows the building facade as it would appear looking from the west-southwest towards the new building. The building will incorporate a variety of elevation changes, materials, and colors to add interest to the project. Mr. Chairman, that's really all I have on this. This is a rezone case where the needs of the city over this property over the last few decades have been many, and this is just another one that's occurring. And the requests have been made to set it to the same zoning as our other public facilities around town.
Okay, is the applicant present, or was that the applicant's presentation? If the applicant would like to come forward and say something, please come forward and state your name.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commission. My name is Jeff Tuneman, Development Services Director. The Lake Havasu City is the applicant for this rezone request, so that is our presentation. So.
Okay. All right, I'll now open it up to the public. If there's anybody in the public who wishes to speak on this matter, either pro or con, now's the time. Anybody at all? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing portion and bring it back to the table for staff's recommendations. Oh, we already had your recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, we believe that the project meets the requirements as contained in the staff report for the approval or rezoning of the property.
Okay, now we are at the table for discussion and or a motion by commissioners. Anybody?
I have a question.
Ms. Ballard.
I just wanted to know,
Ms. Zero, I'm sorry.
that's okay. Being a testing laboratory, that when we rezone this, that's what we're planning on putting there. Are there any additional odors that are going to go into the neighborhoods from the processing of this, other than it's a waste treatment plant, so there's some things there, and you guys are working on that, I know. But is this going to cause additional concerns for the neighbors on that?
Is your microphone on?
It is not, thank you. I just talk loud.
Say again.
Timothy Kellett, Deputy Director of Public Works. Specifically on this lab, the lab already produces zero odors and will not produce any odors in the future. It will have a state-of-the-art HVAC system as required by laboratories to have, it's not a clean air facility, but it does need clean air, if that makes sense. The wastewater treatment plant smells will be the only thing in the area. And with the new local odor control at the Mulberry plant, most of those have been mitigated as well. as the biology in those odor control facilities continues to increase, that odor control is going down and being further held down. So there is no change in that for the neighborhood.
Any other questions? Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Annette.
So I see on the neighborhood meeting, there was 5 people in attendance. Did they have any comments or concerns, or were there any objections by any of the neighbors that attended the meeting? Or was this the roster from the meeting?
That is the roster from the meeting, to the best of my knowledge. Just double check. Yep. Okay. And there was no major concerns. We had the minor concerns of views. Somebody saying, hey, you're not building a 3.5-story facility. We had the architect on site who showed how tall the building would be, and it's actually lower than a home could have been had it been kept as residential zoning. So we're actually lower than that would have been. So that was it as far as what the building was on this particular project.
Were there any concerns about the traffic? For example, utility traffic or work truck traffic, or?
There was one question about how often people be coming through. The lab itself does not see many people. Even though we do contract work out of that lab, meaning we receive samples from other facilities, they're usually during business hours, 8 to 5, and you're talking maybe 1 to 2 per day in a little truck. So
overall, there was really no giant or grave concern from the neighborhood.
No, the biggest concern we had is somebody thought we were putting a new odor control facility or a new clarifying well up top, and it would, again, cause smells or detract from views. And the reality is, no, it's actually a really nice building on a currently empty lot.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, we did have a neighbor comment on the parking overflow issue for Cypress Park, which isn't related to this. And that was brought up, though. Yes.
But there's no impact at all from this facility.
No. The Cypress Park issue is unrelated, and they were referred to the Parks and Recreation Department.
Mr. Tuneman.
Thank you. What Chris is talking about basically is this rezone to P1 will help us in the future provide possible parking, overflow parking for Cypress Park. So the needs in the future, this will help facilitate a potential new parking lot for that overflow parking at Cypress Park.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Mr. Thornton.
This is already graded, right? Isn't this? So when are you guys expected to break ground on this, and what's date of completion projected?
I think February is still the answer to that, right?
Sometime in February, this will be forwarded to City Council at their first meeting in January, and then I think they're slated to break ground in February at some point.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. All right, we are at the table for discussion and or a motion, commissioners. Ms. Ballard.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve ID 24-4583, a request for a rezone of track 2302, Block 1, parcels A and C, 360 Cypress Drive, 340 Mulberry Avenue, and 1873 Walnut Drive, approximately 21.4 acres, from single-family residential district R1 to public lands and facilities district P1.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Lair.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Ballard and a second by Mr. Lair to approve ID 244583 with staff's recommendations. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the question.
The motion passes 7-0.
Good luck, gentlemen. All right, that does it for items on the agenda this morning. The next item is call to the public. If there's anybody in the public that wishes to address the commission on any item whatsoever, now is the time. Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the call to the public. And future meetings, Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next meeting of the Planning Commission is scheduled for January 1 of 2025 is canceled. So you guys, you all won't meet again until January 15th of 2025. And currently, staff is working no less than 5 potential combination with or without general plan amendment rezones. So 2025, at least the early part of it, looks like it's going to be really busy with stuff, and it's a variety of things. So I think it looks like there will be rezone and general plan case for you on the 16th to start off the new year.
Okay. All right. Thank you, commissioners. We are adjourned.